This morning, we're wrapping up our special series, Listen to Me, I'm Your Mother, with a very sensitive and delicate topic, sex. We invited 4 moms joined by their 13 and 14-year-old daughters to Manhattan's tween boutique, Berkeley Girl, to let us in on the issues they face when they get into this very touchy subject.
I wanna let you know.
What would motivate a girl to hook up with someone that she doesn't even like?
To get attention, maybe, from other people.
Yeah. If you haven't hooked up, then you're prude.
I don't know that I'm overly surprised, other than the casualness of oral sex. You know, it's kind of like kissing a guy.
I like watch the OC and like One Tree Hill.
I don't allow Victoria to watch the OC. I've had other parents say, oh, I watch it with my daughter so that we can sit down and talk about it together. But I think that's maybe a myth.
We actually sit together and watch it. And I think it's informative, but also it's a way of opening a dialogue.
It is an opening. I think it's a great opening. But usually I'm saying, that's not real.
I think that sometimes the girls forget that we lived through exactly what they lived through.
I say to my girls, we're a team. I'm the coach, you're the players, we're in this together to have healthy, successful lives.
I'm a firm believer in just answer the question and let them ask.
Even though an explicit question is asked, I don't have to answer in a XXX way.
Never be dishonest, but you don't have to be total disclosure. Patty did just ask me the other day when I had my first kiss.
Oh, I got that same question.
So Patty was a little appalled that 2 years before her present grade, I had kissed a boy.
I knew everything already, but we still talked about it because it's just something that you want to hear from your mom. So.
Yeah, but Lainey, you knew about it from books, didn't you? You didn't.
No, it's common sense.
No, it's not common sense.
Don't you all make this
Don't you about those books I gave you? And I asked you if you had any questions, and you said no.
Dr. Christiane Northrup is the author of Mother-Daughter Wisdom, Understanding the Crucial Link Between Mothers, Daughters, and Health. And Roni Cohen-Sandler is the author of Stressed Out Girls, Helping Them Thrive in the Age of Pressure. Good morning to both of you. Nice to have you. You know, we were talking during the segment. The good news is teenage girls really do want information and listen to their mothers, right? That's what the studies show.
More than any other source, mothers are hugely important in their daughter's life. And what you say, you're going to hear it come back to you, maybe years later.
Now, what about moms who feel so embarrassed and they just don't know how to bring it up? Because I think broaching the subject is the most difficult thing. If you don't want your daughter to watch the OC, if she's of a certain age, how do you bring things up sort of comfortably?
It's important not to think that you have to schedule the talk, but expect to have conversations,
ongoing,
many different conversations, all the time, in many different ways as she grows up. But use those TV shows and movies. Talk about characters and their sexual attitudes and behaviors, because she'll be much more likely to open up about that than she will about herself or her best friends.
And you also say if you don't, then they're going to go to other sources and get bad information and really bad guidance as well.
Absolutely. If they see you as unapproachable, they're going to go to someone who is more approachable, but believe me, they'd rather hear it from you. It makes them feel really comfortable.
At the same time, there's something skeevy to me when a mother gets too into her daughter's activities. Like, I just said like, we did a whole segment on that last week. But when I would kiss a boy in junior high or make out with him or whatever you call it, I wouldn't go and tell my mom.
That's something you would tell a friend. And moms have to really draw a line between being a mom and being a friend. When your daughter's older, yes, it's wonderful to have a mother-daughter friendship. But during the teenage years, you have to be a mom. You have to be the one to say to your daughter, that's not the value I want you to have. That's where I want you to draw the line and show a limit.
And you have to also take advantage of teachable moments, don't you?
Yeah, mostly they're in the car at this age. They're in the car. I mean, that's when you do it. But you want to keep those healthy boundaries so that the kid knows she's safe with you.
It's just funny because last night my daughter said to me, who's 10, and she's at school, so I can share this with you. She said, Mom, I went to the drugstore to get something, a pack of gum or something, and I saw condoms, and on the cover it said, for her pleasure. And I said, really? Do you know what condoms are for?
Yep.
And she said, I figured it out. Now, what could I have done?
Katie,
She's
that was
10.
a perfect response.
But I know, but I was completely freaked out, by the way.
You were?
Well, not really.
Now, see,
but
what I would have done
sort of
is-
the for her pleasure thing made me laugh because she was like making fun of it.
But when girls ask a question like that of their moms, they're really testing their moms to see how their moms are going to react. And what you didn't do is overreact. You didn't become judgmental. You didn't punish her or do anything like that.
But should I have used it to have a more in-depth conversation, if you will, about condoms?
Later. Maybe later when she brings it up again. You know, it would also be the for your pleasure thing. If you wanted to get into it, you could go into the
No,
anatomy of the. No, but seriously, you.
Yeah, if she were older.
Yeah,
fourth grade seems a little young
fourth
for
is
that.
it's a little young for that. I'd go for that more 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of listen between the lines to see whether your daughter really is curious about that and wants to go into it. You have to take your cues from her a little bit.
She went back to watching American. So the conversation ended.
Over.
But this is, we have some questions. This is, we asked a few 13 and 14-year-old girls to ask their moms a question about sexuality and to see how their moms would answer the question. And then perhaps you can give some advice based on that. So let's listen.
Okay.
Mom, what do you think the average age of girls starting to date is?
Well, I don't know what the national average is, but I think a 13-year-old like yourself should probably be escorted or chaperoned by an older.
How did the mom do answering that question?
I thought you did great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
When a girl asks a question like that, though, I think what she's really asking is, what is the norm? And am I normal? And so it's important to give the girl the message that there are many different ways for her to evaluate that, but the mom is there to help her to decide when she's ready for herself.
All right, this time around, one of the moms has a question. Let's take a look at Bernadette asking her daughter Lainey a question about kissing.
And what I'd like to know, and what I've actually asked Lainey is, who does she have a crush on, and who have you kissed, Lane?
Just name like some made-up guy, or else I would say everyone on the main line.
See that?
Okay, is that an appropriate question? I don't think so either.
That feels very prying to me.
It feels intrusive.
Very intrusive, and then this child is not apt to come to her mother with those questions in the future.
And finally, you know, we can't forget that AIDS is still a very huge problem, as well as STDs.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And sometimes I think people forget that there's a really important medical thing to discuss with kids. Can you bring your daughters to a gynecologist and let them be sort of the second assault discussing AIDS with your daughter? And do you think they might take it more seriously coming from a medical professional?
Always. I always think that it's good for a daughter to have a whole team of people to help raise her. A medical professional is great, can be a family doctor, nurse practitioner, gynecologist. She doesn't need a pelvic exam until she's sexually active or at the age of 21. Either way.
But when should you
comes
bring your
sooner.
daughter to a gynecologist, do you think?
I don't think you need to bring her until she's 21.
Unless she asks.
Unless she asks, or you know that she's sexually active or needs some information in that regard. But it's always nice to have a professional that you can trust to have that discussion, because she can't hear a lot of things from you.
Just reinforces what you say. Well,
got it.
ladies, Dr. Christine Northrup and Roni Cohen-Sandler, thanks so much for the guidance for me and all the other moms listening.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
And
for
up
having
next,
us.
Martha Stewart shows off some must-have items for summer right after this.